This is Business Week Armenia, CivilNet's weekly economic digest. Here's what you need to know this week. The United Kingdom-based Bank of Georgia Group this week finalized its $303.6 million acquisition of Armenia's Ameriabank, following shareholder and regulatory approval in the latest shakeup to Armenia's financial system. As of now, the Bank of Georgia Group directly owns 60% of Ameriabank, while its subsidiary, the Bank of Georgia, owns another 30%. The European Bank for Reconstruction and Development holds the remaining 10%. The terms of the deal allow Ameriabank, one of Armenia's largest lenders, to operate as a standalone entity within the Bank of Georgia Group, retaining its own brand name and corporate leadership. Prior to the sale, the billionaire businessman and philanthropist Ruben Vartanyan was Ameriabank's single largest shareholder, owning 48.8% of the lender through a trust fund. The fact that the acquisition took place while Vartanyan remains in detention in Azerbaijan has raised questions in Armenia over how the sale was negotiated. As of this year, Ameriabank's total assets stood at about $3.4 billion compared to the Bank of Georgia Group's $11.7 billion. Ameriabank's sale comes as the United Kingdom-based financial giant HSBC continues to wait for regulatory approval to sell off its Armenian subsidiary to a local lender, a deal that would leave Armenia with no Western commercial banks. The value of that deal has not been made public, nor has any timeline. The ratings agency Fitch said earlier this year it expects Armenian banks' credit metrics to remain better than historical averages for at least the next 2 years, citing continued immigration and capital inflows from Russia. At least $7.5 billion has poured into Armenia from Russia since Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine 2 years ago, according to figures from Armenia's central bank. Pashinyan is urging Russia to invest more in 5 former state-run Soviet-era enterprises Armenia handed over to Moscow more than 2 decades ago as part of a debt forgiveness deal, the prime minister confirmed this week. Pashinyan told lawmakers he had raised the issue in talks with Russian officials, saying, "Our request, our appeal, is not that we want to take these enterprises back, but that investments be made so that the huge potential of these enterprises can be used to the fullest. There are huge areas of industrial importance at the Mars plant, but only a small part of it is being used. Its capacities must work to serve economic development," he added, referring to a dilapidated late Soviet-era electronics factory in the suburbs of Yerevan. There was no immediate reaction from Russia to Pashinyan's remarks. More than 2 decades ago, Armenia agreed to hand over the Mars factory and 4 other key enterprises to Russia, which, in exchange, wrote off $94 million of debt Yerevan owed to Moscow at the time. That also included the Hrazdan thermal power plant, Armenia's largest, which is now controlled by the Russian-Armenian businessman Samvel Karapetyan and by Gazprom Armenia, the local subsidiary of Russia's state-run energy giant. The equity for debt swap deal remains a source of controversy in Armenia, where it is widely seen as having helped allow Russia retain outsized economic influence over the country. And as always, please follow CivilNet for the latest news and independent reporting from our contributors on the ground here in Armenia.